The first two pages were all about the very first history of ancient Rome. So when it first became its own civilization. There is not a lot known about early Rome because it's just so long ago, but there are some details and speculations to what it was actually like. So, according to legends and stories, which are things that are written down and passed on through generations, um, they're written by historians and poets. They believe that the founding of Rome began with Aeneas, a hero of the Trojan War. So, according to this poem, which is describing how Rome was created, after Troy, a city in Greece, was destroyed, Aeneas left the city and settled in central Italy, which is where Rome is. He lived among the people who had already settled in this area known as the Latins. The Latins provided him with input on their style of government and taught him their namesake language, Latin, which later became the empire's official language. So their language was not English in Rome, it was Latin. Latin is studied today, but it's not a spoken language anymore. You're not going to go around the world and find people who speak Latin in that area. He married the daughter of the king, and his descendants eventually became rulers of the region. Two of his descendants, the twins Romulus and Remus, were abandoned at birth and rescued and raised by a she-wolf. As an adult, Romulus returned to the place where he had been rescued as a baby. There he built a city and named it Rome. So it all started with this Aeneas, and then his kids, Romulus and Remus, became the first rulers of Rome. Romulus built the city and named it Rome. Um, we already talked about this in the previous week, but the Romans adopted and adapted aspects of Greek religion and political philosophy. So a lot of Rome is going to be similar to Greece because they are very close together in geography, they're very close together in the world, and they adopted a lot of their qualities. The second page also talked about the origins. It talks about how Romulus became the first of 7 kings who ruled Rome. During this time, Rome came under the control of the Etruscans, another group of people who lived in central Italy. Under their rule, the city's marshes were drained and several large temples were built. So they're building the city, they're cleaning up the city. The Roman Forum, which is their central meeting place, kind of like their city hall, was also expanded during their rule. And then they also talked about how the Romans adopted their alphabet, their numbers, some of their art, some of their what they would wear, like togas, from this group of people. So a lot of what Rome was like came from this group of people. The last of the Etruscan kings, his name was Tarquinius Superbus. He was a very harsh ruler, and they did not like him. So they rebelled against him and expelled him. And then, because there was no king in control, they needed to establish a new form of government. So that will take us into the next day's reading, their political structures and their government. So again, this talks about how Rome was founded. Nothing is set in stone because it's so long ago, and they are going off of what poets and legends talk about. But Romulus and Remus were the first rulers, and they adopted a lot of what they had in Rome from the Etruscans.